What is up, guys? My name is Tsunamods and welcome back to another modding FF7 video. Now today I'm going to be showing you as much as I can, in the best way that I can, about coding. Now this video has been asked, I did get asked to do this video a little while back. It has took me a while to do it. To be honest, I did forget about it, but I remembered and now I am here. So I'm sorry about the delay for this video. And we'll just jump straight into it to save a little bit of time here. Now, there is only one program that you're going to need to be able to do this, and that program is Makou Reactor right here. Now, I will leave a link in the description for this, so you can go ahead and get that whenever you are ready to do something like this. And we're going to double-click this to open the file. Now, when it opens, we have basically nothing to look at. It is very much empty. So what we have to do is, if we go to File, there are two ways here that we can open files. There is Open and Open Directory. Now, there are two ways that we can really make changes to the code. Now, if you want to make changes to your vanilla game, the original game, then you want to click Open. If you're looking to make changes for a mod that you're making that you wish to release to other people and it only contains like certain fields kind of situation, then we're going to be doing Open Directory after we do Open. So what I'll do first is we're going to click Open, and the file that you're looking for is called flevel.lgp. Now this can be found inside your Final Fantasy VII folder. So I have mine installed in my C drive, Games, Final Fantasy VII. You're going to go into Data, Field, and then flevel.lgp. Now this file has all of the code in the entire game in here. And I'll give a little explanation about what exactly it is that we're looking at here. So on this little bar on the left, we have every field that is in the game, all of them. So I can just flick through these with my arrow keys. You can see in the bottom left, there's a preview of the screen that we are altering the code for. So we will leave, which one should we do some work on? Try and find a good one. Okay, yeah, Nibelheim flashback. Okay, you know what? This would be a nice, easy one to do. We'll do the bathroom in the Shinra building. And then in this middle section here, we have everything that takes place on the field itself. And these two are empty right now because we don't have a group selected. So in here, we have 4 types of groups. Literally the most 4 important groups that there is, the main 4 types. We have the directory. I call it the directory. I don't know what dir actually stands for, but that's what I call it, and it just works for me, so, you know. Now what this is the field itself. This has the script. Like, this is what will happen every time you enter the field, unless certain conditions are met. We also have Cloud, so the actual object of Cloud who exists on this field. We have a line script, which is like an invisible line, and if something crosses it, then something will happen. It's like a checkpoint kind of thing. And then we have animations. Now, animations I'm not going to be able to really show you much about at all, because I've never worked with them. Not this type, not like a field script animation. I've only ever done like the 3D animations for the characters and stuff like that. So them I am going to have to ignore for the sake of this video. And I'll go through and explain a little bit of what this code is. We will read through them, and I will try my best to tell you exactly what it says in English. And they already basically are in plain English. Anybody that's never seen this before can look at it and get a good rough idea of what is happening and what they're looking at. So this main script, as soon as you enter this field right here, this is what is going to happen. Return equals 5. Now, that says return because of something I've done. I'm using specific variables that I've renamed for the sake of EchoS. Until literally this moment right now, I was unaware that the variable that I'm using was used for anything else. So that might be a problem. So we will fly past that one for now. So as soon as you enter this field, it's going to play the music 0. Now, the way that we know what song that is if we go to Tools, and Tutorials and Sounds, we have here Music 0, which is the name that the code works with is Sinraz Low, and it's effectively called Infiltrating the Shinra Tower. This is Music 0. So that song will play as soon as you enter this field, and it will set the music for battles as number 1. So whenever you get into a battle, it's going to play the fighting tune. And it will display Shinra Building 66th floor in the menu. And what this is, obviously, when you press triangle to open the menu, if you were using the PlayStation controller, and you look in the bottom right, you have your time, you have your guild, etc., and you have your location. That is what is going to be displayed in the location. So then we have our main script right here. So this is slightly more complicated to look at. Now, labels are like checkpoints in code. So it's that's about the best explanation I have. It's like a waypoint. There will be a situation here where I will be able to give you a better example and show you exactly what happens. So we have label 1 here. We have store the triangle ID of group cloud. It's CL and it's group, so we can see in the groups we have CL. We know that group 1 is cloud. So store the triangle ID of cloud in variable 60. Now variables I can't really help you with. There's hundreds upon hundreds of them, and they all do very different things, and they're not named. Very few of them are named. In fact, if I go to Tools and Variable Manager, you'll see here that, we have Game Moment, Eris's Love Points, Tifa's Love Points, Yuffie's Love Points, Barret Love Points, etc. But the most of these are blank. So there's 255 of them there, and you get 1 and 2. So var 1, like that's var 1255, or it could be var 2255. It will be the same as all these. If we go into here, which is 3 and 4, these are also all basically empty, and the same applies for literally all of these. Now, I personally use a lot of the stuff in 11 and 12. I have my things here at the bottom, like the time of day, my TSM options, unlocks, New Game Plus, music, models, time upgrades, rain, wind. I decided that I was going to use these because from what I was aware, they were not used by anything. But looks like I'm a little wrong. So it will store the ID of group cloud, the triangle ID. Now the triangle ID it's an easy way to get your location, and the way you can see this is if you go to Tools and Walk Mesh, you'll be able to see the areas that you are capable of walking on this field. So if the walk mesh does not have, if there is not a walk mesh, like for example, see down here, past this wall, we're all aware at this point that the image that you are walking on, the area that you are in when you play the game, it is not a 3D scene, it is a flat image. It is literally just a picture. No difference if I was to take a picture of my wall, I could put it in-game and you could walk around it in Final Fantasy VII. That's all it is. And the way that it knows where you're allowed to go is the walk mesh, which is what we see here. We have the door, we have the bathroom, and if I use this slider, we'll not use that one, we'll use this one. I'm going to do this and then bring it back up. So this is it from the front view. You come in the door, this is essentially the toilet, you stand on top of the toilet and you climb up to the top. And that's what we're looking at here. So when it says store the ID, the triangle ID of the group cloud, what this means is in the walk mesh, like on the walk mesh tab, we have all the triangles, and you'll see that the orange lines are changing to select different triangles. Whichever triangle cloud is stood on, when this happens, is the one that it will save. I don't know how much that's going to help you guys, but that's me trying to explain what it does. And then we have if var 60 equals turn. That's another one of my issues. So if var 60 equals var 62, this is not a great example field. But okay, if var 60 equals the same as var 62, it will run this script. If it doesn't, it will go to label 2, which will then go to label 1 again. And this is a looping script, so it will keep trying to read this until it gets what it wants, effectively, which is it wants it to run this script. So if we click go to script, this is what will happen. So it deactivates the talk script for Cloud, and it deactivates contact with the model. So Cloud can move through objects because he has no contact. And because he has no talk script, it means you cannot, like if you go up to someone and press circle and you have a conversation with them, you will not be able to do that anymore because the talk script is turned off. And then it hides the field model, and deactivates the movability of the character, so you no longer can move and you are invisible. So this effectively, I believe, is when you leave the scene. You've already, like, you've gone up to the toilet, you've said, let's climb up, he's gone up, and this is what happens. So it disables your access to the menu as well, and then it places the field model somewhere else in the, like, the XYZ. So that's just the location of where the model is going to be placed. And the triangle ID, like we were just talking about the triangles, you need to make sure that the triangle that you are stood on is the triangle ID of where you are placed, otherwise you will not be able to move. We also then have our field model direction, fairly self-explanatory, and then we display the field model so we can be seen again. It then says play animation 7 of the field model. Now the way that we know what animations there are is if we go to Tools and Field Models. On this side we can see all of the field models that are listed, which on this scene is Cloud only. So for example, if I click this one here, we have Cloud, we have Rufus, we have Scarlet, Heidegger, Sang, like there's all of the models that will ever appear on that scene. So we'll go back to our trusty bathroom here. We have Clap. And he is going to be doing... Which one were we on? We're on this one, yes, so animation 7. So we can see the list of his animations here, and animation 7 is this one. So from what I can tell, this is... I don't really know what the fuck this is. This is him either jumping up or jumping down. It could really be either way. So he's playing that animation. And then he's playing loop animation 8. So for whatever reason he's jumping over and over and over again. Not really sure why. It waits 15 frames. Now, when it comes to the waiting and frames, you have to remember that this game is a 30 frames per second. So when it says wait 15 frames, that means it is waiting half a second before continuing on in the code. After half a second, it will play sound 62. There isn't really a good way of knowing what sound that is, other than just testing things. It will then field model, it'll jump, like it will move the model. It'll wait 20 frames, it'll play a loop animation 0, which is its idle animation, activate the movability of the character, and enable the access to the menu again. So that is... Oh, that is a lot to take in for just climbing up a toilet. And then we have our lines. Now, the way lines work, like I said, they are like waypoints, invisible lines. If you cross them, then something will happen, like a doorway, or something to that effect. Now, on your initial script, this is going to say create line X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z 2. So because it's a line, it has to have 2 points. So there is one side of the line and the other side of the line. And then everything in between is your line of contact. So that is your initial script. Initial scripts just mean that is what it's going to do as soon as you enter the field. That is the way it should be. You know, like a human's initial script is we breathe. You know, we do it deliberately. That is something we always do. That is our initial script. Our main script is something that will take priority over everything else. Except the initial script is like it's number 2 on the list. You know, it's it's something that will... it's really hard to explain. I'm not really one for doing this, but I'm going to try. So anyway, if we cross this line, so if we move across this line, what it's going to do is it's going to create a window, and it's going to ask the question. Now when it comes to asking a question, we have the window 0, we have text, you put the text in, like for whatever you want it to ask. And right now the text is flush, climb up, or get out of here. And this is the box that will appear. Now you can move this box around, you can place it anywhere on the screen that you want. And you can mess around with the options as you see fit. There are different types of window ID. And the reason that there are different types of window ID is because, for an example, you know when Cloud jumps onto the train at the very beginning of the game past the first bombing mission? When you first backflip through that door, but Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, they all say Cloud, and they're all like happy to see you and whatever else. And all 3 of them boxes appeared on the screen at the same time. Now, the reason that we need window IDs is because no 2 windows of the same ID can appear on the screen at the same time. So the way that works is one window would have been ID 0, one would have been ID 1, and one would have been ID 2. But they had to have been on separate scripts that were all ran at the same time. Because with this script right here, these things here, anything below this ask the question, cannot happen until this window is closed. So you had to have chose your option. Now, what it does is it's going to put the answer in var 5, 9. I'm not sure where it's getting the 9 from, because we have 5 and 0. Oh, okay, yeah, so var 5 is coming from there, and then 9 is coming from here. It's a little hard to explain. It's very messed up. It's kind of confusing. And then when it comes to questions, we have the two shorts. Now what this is, you know how you have the little finger and you can choose your option as you scroll up and down? The first short will be the first line, so wherever the hand will originally appear. And the second short is the long line, so it's the last line. Now bear in mind that the first line that you can select will always be 0. It's always 0. 0 counts as a number in code, for Final Fantasy VII at least. So this has, the short line is 0, the long line is 2. So see if I open the window here, we have 3 options. We have line 0, 1, and 2, and that's how it works. And you can probably already guess from this stage, see how we have 3 if statements, if it equals 0, if it equals 1, and if it equals 2. So depending on what your answer is, it will run different scripts. So if we click flush, which is 0, it's going to play the sound effect 137 in position 64127. Now what that means is it will play the sound effect, and the position, because it's exactly halfway, means it will be played in the center of the screen. Because you know how stereo, we have left and right, like surround sound sort of stuff. If I was to put it at 0, it would sound like it came from the left, and if it was at 127, it would sound like it came from the right. So 64 is bang in the middle. And then it is going to run script 5 in group CL, which I can see over here. Again, this is cloud. So if we click go to script, if we click to flush the toilet, this is what's going to happen. You won't be able to move, you won't be able to open the menu, it'll move you slightly, you'll turn around, and then you'll be able to move again and have access to the menu. It's as simple as that. It's really easy, nice and easy to read. And that is the way that that line works. It's really that simple. So that is what that is all I'm going to give when it comes to how to read the code itself. Now what I will do is see if you want to add new things to a script. It is as simple as clicking the plus up here. You will be given a box with a list of different categories here. So if we wanted to add a new animation or a field model, like we have field models and animations, the second one will give us a new list of all the stuff that that category holds. And you can work away with all of that stuff, and it will just appear there then. So that is how we add a new line of code. If you want to add a new script entirely, you can just go to literally any of these. You could do the bottom one if you really wanted, and you can just double click here and you'll be able to start your own script. But these scripts will not be ran unless they are called somewhere else. So for example, if I went here into the thing, I added plus and execute a script, I could say that its group is going to come from cloud, and we could run script 31. So it's that simple. So we'll delete that for the time being. As well as that, we can add new models to the field scene by clicking the plus up here. We will name this, say if we name it Sid. And it doesn't just take the appearance of Sid straight away just because of its name. The way that we have to do this, if we go to Cloud's initial script, we can see that we have 3 things right here. So what we'll do is we'll copy them and we'll bring them over to here. And we'll delete the original return because we brought one with us. Now, the field model ID. Now remember that things start at 0. 0 is the first number. So if we go down this list, we have Cloud first, who is field ID 0. This is just a line, so it's not a field model, and this is going to be 1. So this is going to be field model 1. The field model is playable, and it is, we're going to choose Sid. So then we would essentially have Sid as this group. He will be this whole thing. Now we would have to go into his main script and have a place the field model, set his directions, set his loads of his stuff for him to actually appear. But if we wanted to actually add Sid to the field, we would have to go to Tools and Field Models, click plus over here, and choose Sid. But naturally, the game is awkward and it is not named Sid. Everything is just named AAAA to ZZZZ. It's really, really annoying. You would have to go through these one at a time to actually find exactly what you were looking for. But I do have a little bit of a time saver for you. I will leave a link in the description for a spreadsheet, and that contains, I'm pretty sure it contains every model in the game. Once it is open, at the top you will see Field, Battle, and World, I think, maybe a few more. When you're on the correct tab that you want, all you've got to do is press Control and F, which will bring up the find function so you can search for stuff. And you could just type in Sid and click Next, and it will find Sid for you. And as you can see here, everything in this list is a .hrc. Now, a HRC is a skeleton. The way models work is they have their skeletons, they have the P files, which is each individual limb that you place on the skeleton, and then they have their textures, which you don't have to worry about. You only need the HRC file for Sid, for example. And that would be how you added a new one. So we'll choose this zombie dude, whatever. But he will not appear straight away. You have to add his animations first. So I know for a fact that ACFE is the idle animation. That is just you standing still. So that will now effectively put him here. Well, it wouldn't because it's playable and it's Sid. But you get the idea. You'd have place field model instead of field model is playable and it is Sid. Oh, okay. I hope that this makes any sort of sense to you at all. Coding is such a hard thing to teach, especially when you're not in front of someone and you don't know exactly what it is that they want to learn how to do. So I hope you're able to take some of this away. I mean, the code for FF7, it is written a lot more plainly in English than anything else you'll ever find. It's not like writing in Java. It is a godsend, really. Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do is saving it. Now, granted, you can see in the top left corner there's a little save icon, and I could just click save and it would work. It would work perfectly fine. But the downside to that is that if I click save, what it's going to do is it is going to save over the original game's code. So it will be permanent. And if you ever wanted rid of that or you broke something, you would have to go in and manually undo your changes, which is not easy to do because remembering what you did can be a huge pain. So what you can actually do instead of just clicking save is you can click file and you can export the current field. So we're going to export it to the desktop. Never rename it. It should always be named after just the name of the field itself. So I've just saved that onto the desktop and we now have our bathroom. Blin66_3. Now, what we can do with this file is there are two different ways. And as well, before we do that, what I will do, remember at the very beginning I said there were two ways you could open the code? Now, if you already have loads of these different things, and it's that you're looking to change, you're not going to want to click File and Open, you're going to want to go to Open Directory. And you're going to just choose the folder that contains those files. So right now mine is my desktop, so if I just click Desktop and select Folder, we can choose the PlayStation version or the PC version. I'm going to click PC. We are not going to save, and I have the one area that we've just been messing around with now. So we have Sid right here. Sid is rather ill looking right now. So that is how you're going to be editing individual scripts instead of the original game scripts. What you can do is if you don't have them but you would like to have them and not have to do it one at a time, what you can do is File and Mass Export. If you have the original one open, this list will be completely full and you can just kind of select everything. And you have a few different options. We'll have Export Field, which is what you want for coding specifically. Export the background will just give you a PNG image of the actual field itself, so you could mess around with it, do whatever you like. You have the sounds, which you're also not going to need really, and the texts, which you're also not going to need. Everything that you need comes inside the file anyway, so you could untick all of these. And that will mass export, so that will export everything as an individual scene into a folder of your choice that you choose right here. So you'd make a new folder on your desktop, call it code, or whatever, export everything into there. Okay. Oh, okay, so, getting it into the game. There are two ways that you can go about getting this into the game. The first way is, if you're still testing, and you don't know if it works 100%, then this is the best way for you. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our Final Fantasy VII folder, wherever it's installed. Now, for this to work, you need 7th Heaven to be installed. What I'm going to do is, at the end of this video, when I have that 15-20 second outro thing, where it's always like, thanks for watching, blah, 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 recommend a new video, you should watch this, I'll put that video there to install 7th Heaven. It's a really easy step-by-step tutorial. I hope. I mean, I already know how to do it, so I don't know if it's actually easy to follow as somebody who don't know how to do it, but I'll leave it there regardless. So if you have 7th Heaven installed, your folder should look a lot like mine. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our direct folder, and we're going to go to F-level. Now, I already have a bunch of F-level files in here because I work on ECOS every single day, and the coding is a nightmare. So I do already have my files in here. Now, what this means is, if you're using 7th Heaven, you know how load order matters? If you have direct mode on, direct will come first. Regardless of your load order in 7th Heaven, direct will always take priority over everything. So this is always at the very top. So for this to work, you do have to turn direct mode on. So in your Final Fantasy VII folder, you're going to look for a file named FF7 OpenGL. You're going to right click it and edit with Notepad. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll find direct mode equals off. You're going to type on and you're going to save it. And that will activate direct mode. So literally anything that is inside this folder, in its subfolders, will be read as number 1. It will always take priority. Now, if for any reason you do not need to use direct mode, then turn it off. If it's not needed, don't have it on. It just might cause problems down the line. I'm not sure what problems or why. It's just a good idea to keep it off if you're not using it. It is for developers, it's for modders. There's no other real reason to need it. The second way to get this back into your game, so for example, if you've finished making your little mod, and you want to pack it all together and get it ready for people to use inside 7th Heaven, all you've got to do is, we can right click, click new folder, we're going to leave it as new folder, we're going to put this inside here. We're going to open it and create another new folder, but this time we're going to name it flevel.lgp. If I could spell, that is exactly what it would say. Okay, so we have flevel.lgp, we're going to put that in there, and that is effectively the mod completed. All we'd have to do then was open up our 7th Heaven, go to Workshop, pack and unpack to IRO, pack to IRO, choose your source folder, which is now our new folder, click OK, save to IRO is going to be the folder where all your mods are located. Mine personally is Final Fantasy VII /mods/7th Heaven. Yours might just be FF7/7th Heaven, and we're just going to name it blah 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 blah, and click go. So that has already complete because it was only one file, and then we're going to restart 7th Heaven. And now in your library tab, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, we have our new mod, blah 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 blah. Right there, it is in our active mods list. Right here. So there are a few other things you can do to like get the images and the descriptions and the name and like the configure options and stuff. All this stuff. If you'd like to learn how to customize your mod in that kind of way, then do let me know. I will help out. It's a nice easy tutorial, so I have no problem doing it. But Guys, and especially the one fella that did ask me to do this video, I hope that everything I explained has made enough sense. It has not been an easy tutorial to make. I'm not even sure if I was on the other side of this tutorial, I would have any idea what I was telling you. But I'm hoping that it is at least enough to give you a very basic knowledge that you can use to be able to move forward and learn more stuff yourself. I've pretty much ran out of things to say at this point, so that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this video did help you or was interesting in any way, shape, or form, please do drop a like on the video. If you thought this was complete nonsense, if you didn't think this video helped you whatsoever, also feel free to hit that dislike button. I would not blame you. Coding is difficult. I hate it. I personally hate it. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video.